I've had someone come and try and throw a spinning elbow at me in a nightclub. Like, I literally just like hopped back and just like booted him in the chest because I thought, I'm fighting in 2 weeks. I don't want to hurt my hand. Right. If I'm not giving up to a broken orbital bone, not giving up to broken legs, family members die in the middle of a camp and I still go out, perform and win. Like nothing is going to stop me mentally. Commit yourself completely to it and just plan your work and work your plan and don't give in before the miracle's about to happen.
What do you think your stepdad would have said to you after that fight? So we've got Molly McCann on.
Yeah,
Meatball Molly McCann.
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying. Like she's a fighting machine.
She's a UFC fighter, which is class. She's also a scouser. She's got a great following. She does a lot for the community as well, which is great. She's got some class veneers, just like mine. So I know we're going to bond like that. Yeah.
Is that because they've all been knocked out fighting? Like what?
We could ask her why she's got them.
Okay.
And then
could just be a personal choice.
Yeah, as mine were. Regret them now, but no worries.
Why?
Just because they're quite big, aren't they?
They look quite tombstone-y.
Do they?
Well, no, like lovely. They're very nice. Mine are actual teeth, though, you see.
When do you think you'll get your second teeth through? But I feel like our aim of this episode should be to see if Molly will let us, Untapped, Untapped podcast, walk her out UFC London in March.
Yeah. I think that's a fair thing to ask. I think it's a fair thing to ask. Obviously, she'll have her team. We just want to be there. Without further ado, we welcome now, in person, live, to the studio, Meatball Molly McCann.
Woo!
It's like Tans Jedwards, isn't it?
What the... Right.
Being on the sun.
Thanks for watching today, guys. We're gonna end it there.
That's actually all we have time for today. Yeah. you, by the way, I'm a massive fan of yours, and you broke your leg in the first round of your last fight, and
I
then
didn't have calves like him.
You did 2 more rounds with a broken leg. Yeah. Like, can you tell us about that experience?
No, what happened was we touched gloves, and she was quite a bit bigger than me. So you have seen me fight, you know. I'm educated pressure, so where I am that small, I have to keep them against the fence and just go to town and just make them concede and defeat and just be like, oh, you just go away. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, bang, bang, bang. So I've come in and she's just the first kick where it just landed. So I broke my fibula and I spun round and I was like, oh, that really fucking hurt. But like, you know, there's a nerve that goes down there. And if it gets kicked in it, like
you can't control your foot, can you?
So I thought that's what it was. And then I took another one and I had to just completely switch stance because I thought, I don't know if I can take another one. And I was thinking, that's really, really sore. And then a couple of minutes after that, I got a low blow. I'm not sure if you've seen that one, but I've come in to punch her and she's just volleyed me in the... Yeah.
Really?
And I was saying a funny story before at the end of the fight. I'm in the doctor's room. It's like my legs are up in stirrups and I've got 2 doctors and the physio heavy looking at me bits and they're like, does that need stitches or not? Like, and I was just like, please, can I just go home? Can I just, like, this leg was double the size. me bits were in bits. Do you know what I mean? And I was just like mortified. Paddy's fighting next. I'm thinking, I've got to go and see him. Make sure he's okay because he's just seeing what I've gone through. And like, when your training partner gets that hurt, it's like, it's tough. Yeah. It's tough because your head goes there for a little minute, you know what I mean? But
was there a point when you realised, like, my leg's pretty knackered here? Like did you think I'm going to stop, or is there no go for you?
Oh, you know, when all your jogs, your light jogs you go on, and you know, being in the training camp and cutting the weight and everything, we're just built different.
I've had a fight actually.
Not with bouncers or policemen.
He had a white collar boxing.
Did you?
Excuse me, white collar. It was a professional sanctioned bout with Wayne Bridge. I lost.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Was he any good though?
Was he?
He's a bit of a mover, isn't he?
He's good. He's good.
He's got much better than me. He jabbed his head off.
As a very competitive fighter at the top of your game.
I thought he was on about yourself then.
He's the
top. So as a very competitive
fighter, yeah.
I'm actually talking about our guest.
Okay, it takes one to know one.
Yeah, there we go.
As a competitive fighter at the top of your game,
yes, boss.
How can you talk me through the feeling of losing? Like, how do you come back from it? Has it ever been so much for you that you begin to question yourself, or is just complete resilience of the utmost importance. How do you bounce back in those rare occasions where you don't win?
I think everything you've kind of said, you can take pieces from each. Sometimes the losses that I got in my previous weight category was literally because if I was taken down, the girls were too big. So to combat that, it was like, right, drop the weight. And then the second I dropped the weight, I really looked like an elite athlete. And then my performance showed that I'm stronger than them, faster than them, fitter than them. So to then get that last fight and take such a compromise, and let's not take away from my opponent what she was able to do, hit the net. It's like when I threw that elbow.
Yeah.
It's like it was completely perfect when she threw that kick.
We just watched that, by the way, and it was like you can feel it.
Well,
yeah. Wind came out of the phone.
Did it?
What was that?
Yeah.
It was quick.
Forever.
Before you go on,
yeah.
The weight cut now for you. Mm-hmm. So you said you felt stronger, you feel faster. Mm-hmm. Why did it take you so long to decide to go to straw from fly? Because how many fights did you have at flyweight before you decided to go, you know what?
17.
17.
Wow.
So everything's science-based. So I've done a DEXA scan at the beginning of every fight camp. Tells me where I'm at. When I was a bit of a round ball who worked at Subway, I'd pump, and I used to love the ale a lot more than what I love it now.
Yeah.
But I'm like a Guinness scale, so they're heavy.
Yeah.
And I'd walk around at like 67 kg, like chunk. We didn't really know nutrition, didn't know nothing like that. So I'd be making flyweights 56.7 kilo. So I'm cutting 10 kilo there, which is nearly just under 2 stone anyway. So that is a lot. So then, as we got more educated and the sport grew, we started to see what MMA is like 4 or 5 Olympic disciplines, not just one. Do you know what I mean? So we started taking bits from everywhere, and then like cultivating our own little blueprint of what works for us. And then it kind of, there's still different countries and cultures who would have old school models, like we're going to run you into the ground, you're going to sweat like 20 pounds the night before, and it's just not healthy. And we've kind of got there.
What country and culture does the training camp best, in your opinion?
So now, if you're going to go stylistically, you're going to go to certain parts of the world for them styles. If you want to learn how to strike with the art of 8 limbs, you're going to go to Thailand or to Holland. Holland striking is more K1, so that's boxing with kicks. So you can have angles and then finish on a kick. But in Thai boxing, if you'd move on that angle, they'd kick your leg out. So it's like, what transfers best for MMA?
Yeah.
And if you want to go to boxing, you probably go to Cuba, America, or England.
Yeah.
If you want to wrestle, stylistically, you're either going to go to collegiate wrestling, and American wrestling is here, Dagestani wrestling, and like that part of Europe. They've adjusted their style of wrestling the best for the cage. Theirs is cage wrestling, but then do people, I was probably going to rub a lot of people up the wrong way, but do you want to watch that? MMA is all of these Olympic disciplines, but do you want to watch someone lying on someone, not really doing too much, not really advancing position, and not really being too...
Just exhausting someone.
Do you know what?
Yeah,
I was a bit...
And it's winning, and it's the smart way to win. And when we're talking about fine lines and fine margins, sometimes it's just getting the W.
I was a bit like that before I started actually doing any kind of wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I was like, I loved the UFC. I loved watching it. But when it went to the ground, I didn't know anything about it. So I used to be like, I'm a bit bored.
Yeah.
But the more I learnt about it and how to get out of it and what they were actually doing, I was like, this is an art.
But when I think when they started releasing the PlayStation games, and then the kids were understanding what's going on. And the best thing now is if you are in Europe or in England, and you'll hear, like in that fight with the spinning elbow, I shoot in on a double leg, pick her up and like flick her behind me. And then I go to everyone like, because the crowd's educated now and they're like, oh, and it's a much nicer place to be with that. Do you know what I mean? But if you're taking it back, this my ADHD kicking in, but if you're taking it back to how does it feel to lose when you're putting this much time into, I was up there at this weight category, as invested in nutrition, in sports science, in all of that, done all the testing. There's like 6 studies of me every day, my weight, my hydration level, my mood, pre-camp, my VO2 max, middle of camp, my VO2 max, end of camp, VO2 max. my velocity, my speed, my power of lifting, my 1 rep max is there.
Yeah.
Blood. So when I'm on the treadmill and I'm doing the VO2 max machine, I'm getting my finger pricked, putting the blood on so they can see my
what's
lactate
oxygen and all
thresholds
that,
and all
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. So these are bits you're never going to think Molly McCann does because I don't shout them from the rafters. You just think, oh, she's just having a scrap in the gym and then going. But I take it much more serious than that.
It feels like it's a beautiful risk, isn't it, fighting? And that's why it's so interesting to so many millions of people. But it's different to say something like a running or other sports where, you know, the more time you put into it, the better you become at it, the more you enjoy it, because you're up against somebody else, you know, doing the same thing, putting in the time. It's never a certainty. You can work your whole life, you know, and you can give yourself to the sport in the most full way and still lose.
When we're talking about the losses spent, sometimes someone, in my mind, I'm better than them, but they've implemented their game plan. It'd be the same if you're running a race, but this time you're racing someone. You might know that you've got more in the tank, but you might have gone too fast, too early, gassed, and then it's too hard to come back. And you know, oh, fuck, my game plan was off, but I know when it's on, I'll beat him. And that's how you have to be in fighting. And don't get me wrong, the only time I've ever doubted myself is when I've read online. And it's when I will go there, because you haven't got a fucking clue who I am, what I've been through, how I've managed to get to where I've got to. But you've just seen me lose a fight or even win a fight and still come for me just because you've only got negative hate to say anyway. And that was the bit when you'd be a little bit like, and I know you will have both been here, possibly still could drift in and out of it because it's what our life is when you are who you are. But it's that real thing of like every morning putting like, I always imagine putting like a gladiator helmet on and like not letting that shit penetrate in, because there's certain fight camps and certain moments of my life where I'm so fucking strong here and not it'll just go ba-ding and just fuck off. And then there's a moment where things aren't going right in your life. You're having shit at home in your personal life. Work isn't going great. I could be injured. I've got more weight to lose. My coaches aren't in, something's happened there, and like so much is going on, and it's like how do you stay connected in your mind, body and soul whilst getting beat up by men every day on a calorie deficit and not letting that in? And sometimes it's a bit like a drip and tap, and sometimes it does find its way through.
You're very like me like that. Spencer's a bit of a freak of nature like that. He doesn't let anything people trolling him. He's not bothered. He's not bothered. Whereas
I'm not a fighter though. I think it's different. I do think it's different.
No, but when you've come from what he came from right at the beginning, you was always sure of who you are as a human, and you're good in that, and you could see, like I was saying before, it'd be nice to see you for you and not like a mask or the charismatic fucking little mini Hugh Hefner you was trying to be when you was younger. Do you know what I mean? Like the big I am. Like
the character though, wasn't it? Like I think he played a character,
and you knew that's not you, so you weren't asked, and you're comfortable, and you was comfortable at home, and it's like everything you kind of had control of, and the things that you didn't have control of, you just don't care about. Whereas people who may come from a different background, who could have trauma, who could have PTSD, who could have just had it a little bit different. I'm not saying you haven't had it hard in certain parts of your life and growing up, because you probably have, but things I may not have, you would have had, and vice versa. And they're the kind of things when you're not taught how to overcome that. You're not taught the coping mechanisms and strategies, and it's a thing that you're learning on the move, and sometimes you're really able to do it quite easily, and sometimes you need help on how to fix that.
Can you shed some light on your journey?
Yeah, so anyone in the 90s would probably have been the same if you was up north. London's always been a bit different because the money was always here and everyone was here, and so don't get me wrong, people probably had it tough down here as well, but the more north you went after Birmingham, I think life was just a little bit harder, wasn't it, lad?
Yeah.
And family love and security in that unit was kind of like if you had that, like you're a millionaire in that sense. As I was growing up, didn't really fit into most boxes that a feminine girly girl would. I was just always drawn to sport because the skills that I have, I could match boys and I could do the same as them, and I could just take them on. I could just do it, do you know what I mean? But like, if you took me into school, that setting wasn't made for me. I'd struggle. Like, I moved to Bournemouth quite young and having a bit of an accent down there, and then I'm reading books And like, you've got to stand there in English, and I'm like struggling to even say the word, and you're like you're saying buch or kuch, and they're like, and it's just, it's fucking tough, do you know what I mean? But I suppose it shapes you, and through going down there and not really getting on with the school system, I was just safe in sports settings, and I felt real comfort in like a coach showing me that love and that routine that I might not have had at home. And my mum just forcing me into everything, go and try it all. So I was doing like animation as a kid, poetry as a kid, drawing, art, like acting classes. Like, that's what my mum...
Just to find what you loved.
Well, yeah, but she was like, go and be that girl. And I was like, I want a football kit, Mum. I want to go and play football with my cousins in the park. Because, like, my fight and what I was good at was, I couldn't maybe articulate it, but I could understand IQ of sport, and I knew how to win. And in my mind, I might not have been able to, like, converse it well or articulate it well, but I knew how to do it, do you know what I mean? And I just fell into sport on accident, and I went to university again by accident. I was playing football for Liverpool. So I was like, from 16 to 20, I was playing with the women's team. And I was just like, I don't really want to be doing this when I'm 32. I don't want to be running around the field, even though it was my first love. Absolutely loved it. I was always better at fighting. I just felt, do you know what I mean? And when I was at uni, I was in a nightclub and the doorman with my mates, and they trained in the gym, but at night in the pubs that I was working in, or the bars, I was in there and I was fucking bladdered and I was too drunk, and one of the doormen went, you go home. I'd literally just done a straw pizza and a bottle of rosé. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like on a Subway work night out. I was like, what's my trick? Have you ever seen anyone do this? Well, next minute, took the knock. And he went, look, Ronda Rousey's this girl, first woman to fight in the UFC. Well, she wasn't the first female to fight, but the first champ. She's fighting Liz Carmouche. It was 23rd of February 2013. And I've gone home, and I definitely didn't illegally stream it on my laptop. And in that, I did not. No. And in that moment, I was like, this is me. Yeah. So this was like Sunday morning, 5 a.m. I had a Subway shift at 11, and I've emailed me now coach, hi Paul, I know I've been down before sparring, boxing, but I want to be like that Ronda Rousey. He's like, right, coming on Monday. So I've gone into my shift in Subway, and I'm like, I'm going to do this UFC, not even calling it MMA, like so fucking mad, you know what I mean? Like, still on one from the night before, cutting butties like that. And then I went into uni on the Monday, and I had about 5 months left, and we was just deciding what our dissertation is on and doing all that kind of thing. And I remember one of my lecturers, Lou, I was going, I'm not coming back, I'm going to go and do this UFC. And she's like, how long have you been doing that for? I said, it's my first session tonight. And she's gone, fuck off. She said, that's such a Molly McCann thing to do, but if I feel it, and you will now, and your life's changed and so is yours, when you put yourself in these positions in life, something just levels out and you just feel at peace, and you're like, no, I've got this.
Some people could go into that first session, they go, right, we're doing arm bars, and you're getting arm barred and going, this probably isn't for me, actually. I'm going to go back uni and finish my dissertation. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but by the way, I did finish it. I did get a degree. Don't worry.
Love that.
Yeah.
The only degree in here, I think.
Definitely the only degree. I didn't even go to college. But that showed resilience straight away. So you could have easily gone, actually, I made a mistake. I'm not going to do this. But you kept going. And I think for people listening and watching, it's not easy straight away, is it?
It's not even easy now when I'm at the top of the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, the better it gets, the more pressure that comes. But I just, from being a young age, my mum was always like, gratitude. And every night we pray. And every night she'd be like, 3 things. What did you enjoy about today? And me not realising that would be my gratitude. Like, what am I actually thankful for? And I'm telling you, from a kid, it was like, right, what's your plan? Like, what's your goals? So I've always been short-term, long-term, goal-driven. And the day I met Paul Rimmer, he sat me down and he was like, what do you want from this? I was like, okay, let me have a little think. And I remember telling him what I wanted. And after a year, I had 3 fights, amateur, and then went pro. And I remember going to America, and I went on a bit of a tour from the East Coast the whole way to Las Vegas, and different gyms on my own. And I was in the Luxor, like, proper. I just had no money, do you know what I mean? So it was like, I think I even me and my friend Laura GoFunded or whatever to get out there, just to go and train and learn the trade. And I remember writing, why do I want to be a world champion? and like a mind map of all the different reasons. And then how do I get there? And I've still got these 2 bits of paper. And it was like 5 years to the day that I sent the email to Paul Rimmer. That 5 years, that very fucking day, I headlined the Liverpool Echo Arena and won a world title. Like, Paddy was below me.
Yeah.
And it's just mad because of who he is. And at that moment, that's where I was. But it was just like, in that moment, I was just like, yeah, every day I make these I make these big goals that I hold myself accountable for every day.
Can you remember that feeling?
Yeah.
The feeling when you won that title.
Yeah.
Can you remember exactly how it felt at the time?
I remember because I remember walking in, like a woman hadn't headlined that arena. Like women don't really headline arenas in MMA or boxing, or especially 6 years ago when it was. But I just remember walking out and I walked out to Camel Fat at a Scouse DJ band, like group, and I walked out to Cola, like she sips the Coca-Cola. I remember like walking through when Pad was there, Darren Till was there, and I was walking with my big Everton flag, and I was just looking and I thought, fucking hell, everyone's actually here for me. And I thought when Paddy would have left, everyone would have gone, but they didn't, do you know what I mean? And there was like 4 fights in between us, so I was like, oh, come on then. And the first round, the girl had beat me in a jiu-jitsu competition before.
Right.
So I thought, right, you're my kryptonite. If you can't get me down in the first, I know I've got you. So the first, like, she tried to take me down and I sprawled. I went 1-0, Bryony. And then she done it again. I went, 2-0. And then in the second round, I said, right, Paul, I'm warm now. I've got faith in myself. I'm going to go for it. And she tried the last takedown and I went 3-0. And Bryony's looked at me and I've just gone, boom. And then just finished the fight. And I just remember there's a video. And I just dropped to my knees and I put my hands on my head and I go, oh my God, I've done it. And I just remember...
I've got goosebumps.
Yeah.
I jumped out the cage. I lost my stepdad a couple of months before that. And the day before, my mum had come in. One of the last things I'd ever said to him, and he had said to me, he said, go and get the belt and go and get your mum a house. So I was like, fucking right. So the night before, my mum had had his wedding ring melted down to fit on my finger. So when I was in there, it was on me. So he was like the only thing that was missing, but he was with me. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, I was just looking up and I was like, oh, fucking hell. So I just ran out and my mum was dressed up like a mob wife, I swear to God. Like she just looked unreal, but just like a gangster, do you know what I mean? And I literally picked her up like this, like a man would, like when he carries his wife over the threshold. And I grabbed her in and I ripped a dress. So I had a big Everton flag. So my mum's an Evertonian, so I wrapped her in it. And I held her and I was like, I'd done it, like I've done it. And when he wrapped it round, the belt round me, I was just like, oh, fucking hell. And then I was just I came down quite quick.
What do you think your stepdad would have said to you after that fight?
All of the greatest athletes in the world tell us how important sleep and recovery is to being the best version of yourself. And knowing the quality of your sleep is the absolute first step. The sleep data on Whoop, to me, is fantastic. And it stands to reason that obviously the higher quality of sleep you get and the longer you sleep for, the better you'll recover. I mean, I have 3 kids, I work pretty hard, and I train really hard. So I just try and make sure that I manage my sleep according to my day that's coming up, according to my training schedule. Whoop breaks down sleep so that removes the guesswork out of the equation. Not only do you get guidance each and every day around how much sleep you need based on your activity that day and what your optimal time to go to bed is, but with Whoop, you get a detailed analysis of the quality of your sleep and what you can do to improve it. If you're not on Whoop, you can go to join.whoop.com/untapped to try Whoop for free for 30 days today. And that is quite the offer. If you're already on Whoop, we're going to set up a community team, so make sure that you keep an eye out for the code that's coming through soon.
William Moe.
Yeah.
He was only from Bermondsey down the road, do you know what I mean? But like, there's little moments where I know you have experienced loss before, so you'll know, like...
That's why I asked. I didn't want to impose, by the way.
There's real surreal moments in your life when you feel lost or you feel like you're on your right path. Something will be there. Something that they've said, or like you get a smell, a whiff of something, or a song will play, and you just know that's them, and it's just, I don't know, that's what I think anyway. Some people are like, oh, fucking shut up, you, but
no,
it's really interesting, actually.
Yeah. I agree, but you only know that once you've been through loss to someone so close, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're always around. Did you feel like he was in there with you at any point? Did you,
like
before, did you get any signs or anything like that?
Well, I fought once. I had to fight in Vegas, and it was on his birthday.
Right.
By the time I got in, I was just mentally and emotionally done, and I just got pinned against the cage for like 3 rounds. It was awful. I took my gloves off, threw them on the floor. I was like, I am done. And then, like, the broadcast team was like, "Is Molly retired? Is Molly retired?" And Paul, my coach Paul, was like, "No, she was just. It was in honor of her dad. She was just leaving the gloves in there for him." And I was like, "Fucking quick thinking there, Paul." He was like, "I know, yeah." But then, the February just gone, it was his birthday again, and I was in Vegas, and I fought, and I won, and I just knew how to approach it different. Like, we're all on this journey, us three especially, of being through a little bit and come out as better people, and are still on the journey and still going to get it right and still going to get it wrong. But the experience of life and the situations that we've been in, you learn how to deal with situations in a different way. And I think I can now handle situations a lot better than what I did. Like, I was a kid from the street who's just been thrust into the madness, and you do have to kind of polish off a little bit here and there, but still keep yourself.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
We were eating meatball Subway sandwiches when you arrived, and you declined because you're on a very strict diet ahead of your fight. Can you take us through things that you do to prepare to be at your absolute peak on the night?
Yeah, absolutely. So, firstly, I'll go mentally. So, I have to put my boundaries in place with friends, partners, business partners, coaches. Sometimes, like, I have to have a conversation with my coach Paul Down at the beginning of this camp, and I went, "I want to let you know I'm really fucking nervous." And he was like, "What?" And that's nothing I'd ever come out of my mouth. And I said, "Well, I'm here to... I've had a lot of fucking therapy, so I'm not holding it in no more. I don't have to hide. You know, it's not being weak by saying this, how I feel. I am fucking here. I've just had horrific injury, horrific backlash, and I'm a bit like, I've been in the gym for a couple of months. I feel a little bit alienated. Not that yous have done that, but I'm too heartbroken to come in the gym. I don't want to bring anyone else down who's like riding high on their wins. That's not for me to do, to take away from them. They shouldn't have to do that." And he's like, "Right." I said, "So I might cry. You might have to push me more, and I might need a hug." And my team, I've been there 12 years now, like they know. And the more we've carried on with the camp, the more trainings come on and I've got back in, I'm like, fuck, what was I nervous about?
Feel
like,
good.
Shut up, Molly. But I have got to communicate, otherwise, if not, I become resentful and I could trigger myself or I'm ruminating things that aren't even real. Do you know what I mean? Because we can have all of us can just make shit up in our brains, and I don't know why we do it. But then I'll get like my physiotherapy and my actual therapist. I'll be like, "Right, these days I'm going to have you for my body, and every Sunday on my day off, I'm going to have you for my mind." And it's not like trauma stuff, but it'd be like, "Right, how's training been this week? Let's just connect your whole body to yourself. Like, be in your body. Don't be here, don't be there. I want you a flow state when you're in there. Let's practice bringing yourself there every time." Our training schedules are kind of much the same every camp, but I've got 2 years left of fighting. That's where I would like to finish. It could go longer, but in my mind, I'd probably say 34 now. I want bambinos. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to work for me now. What I used to do is, at the end of every week, I'd be like, all the teams in a group chat, "Thanks for this week, team. This worked really well for me. I need a bit more help on that." But I was too in all the time, and you just like,
Got to switch off.
Yeah. After every session, I say thank you to my coach. Yeah. Thank you for your time. And I put my fucking whole life on that line. If I'm not giving up to a broken orbital bone, I'm not giving up to broken legs. Family members die in the middle of a camp, and I still go out, perform and win. Like nothing is going to stop me mentally. So if I'm having a bit of a bad day, they know me well enough to go, ease off there. Or if I'm being a bit of a little brat, because it gets like that after 8 weeks' time, and you haven't eaten for this long, and you are held together by fucking tape. By the end of your runs, you're gonna know. Like, when you've just done what you've done, there's some days, lads, when someone would have just said, "Hey," and you'd be like, "What do you want?" I'm exhausted. What do you know what I mean? And it's just because you are exhausted, and it's just about like sometimes they'd be like, come on, you've done enough today, or no, you fucking haven't, carry on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
You seem in such an incredible balanced place. It's
only from losing that last fight last
Do you
year.
reckon that's what's flipped a switch?
Yeah, like I had to just reassess. Like I couldn't do any more. I was in the physical shape. I looked at you after your last run, after that last one when you're like absolutely six-packed out your head, not a pick of fat on you, lovely tan. Even your hair was on point. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you.
Oh God, don't give him any more of a big head.
No, I'm going to annihilate him in a minute. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm only going to mess. I'm only messing. No, but it's like Paul Rimmer said to me, he's like, I've never seen anyone take it in the fight game like you. Like how your career has gone, how you loved, how the hate comes, and how you deal with it. He said, there's not many people on this earth who could come back after what you have. But I am a whole different person now. Like before I came in, we were having a laugh and a joke, and I said to you, like, that's what people would know Meatball as, and you are really knowing Molly McCann.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What do you think the next fight entails? Is it a must win?
Do you know, I think I'm past that now, because win, lose or draw, I'm kill or be killed. Like, I'm the one who has to look at myself in the mirror every day, and I'm the person who has to put my head on the pillow at night, close my door, and it's just me and what's in here. And you'll know by what you do and the physical places you've had to take yourself, but there is just no fucking way. And I thought I'd be weaker mentally by how low I was after that last fight. Because I've never had pity on myself. And I was just like, I just didn't fucking deserve that. But guess what, Molly? Everyone's got a fucking sad story. Get fucking on with it. Do you know what I mean? And I was so dreading this week a little bit. Like this week I'd had nightmares. I hadn't slept. I was panicking, thinking, got to kind of relive the moment. And I'm not sure if you have had that, or listeners in your life, when you get to a point and you do something and it doesn't work out. If you're a chef and you make a shit meal and you get a shit critic, or you release a song and it doesn't go to where you want it in the album charts or whatever, but it's public and you're having to face it, not just to yourself, but to the rest of the world, and they're giving you their 2 pence on it, and you're like, oh, I was really like, yeah, I was worrying a bit about this week, but then I realised no one could walk in these little size 5s and do it like I would do it. So what's the fucking point in worrying about them? How you would be, lad. Why sweat the little stuff? What someone else thinks of you is none of your business. Unless someone's physically in front of me and is going to abuse me.
Has that ever happened?
I've had someone come and try and throw a spinning elbow at me in a nightclub.
Really? A man?
Yeah, it's a really funny story,
Go
actually.
on.
But I ended up elbowing him and had his tooth in my elbow. So it's like 2 o'clock.
Hilarious.
No, but it was. No, we're all like, it's 2 in the morning. We're all out, like, we're in this place called Wall of Fame. So it's just live music. It's like the Temple Bars in Dublin.
Right.
So it's just like good vibes.
Yeah.
But this lad's looking at me like that. And I was like, whoa.
What a weirdo.
And why would you do that?
Well, I didn't know what his thing was. And he's run over to me and he's gone like he's about to hit me. And I've just stepped back and gone, boom. And then he's on the floor. I've looked. His tooth's there. He's there. The doorman have picked him up, ranked him outside. And I've come outside. And he's like getting all at me. And I was like, I don't know
You
what
just
you're about.
attacked me.
I said, I don't know, what? And he's like, well, I'm a fan. I was like, I will pay for this to be fixed. But you can't, you're a grown man running at me. Like what? And it happened again. Do you
Was he just like joking or no? Like,
yeah, but how do you know
that in a nightclub in the middle of the night?
When you're on one.
Someone runs.
And everyone...
You've gone up to Molly and gone, you just gone,
no, but it wasn't even like, it was like...
You saw him coming quick.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's going to take me out.
So
And
you
it's
thought
like-
he'd just give him a good hammering quickly?
Well, that just proves to anybody
It's
thinking
muscle
of maybe
memory,
saying to Monica.
Sorry, it's just there.
The reflex.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, if someone pats me on the back, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
From
Next
the
time
mean
we
streets
bump
of
into each
Liverpool,
other,
guys.
I'm not going to do any sudden movements.
No.
Just a southern movement.
Yes.
Hello, nice
Hello.
to meet you.
What was the other one? You said it's happened twice.
Do you remember Webster in the park in Sefton Park? Jamie Webster.
Deceased now, is he?
No, he's the singer.
remember him, yeah.
He's the singer. No, but I would normally have to go in like like, not the VIP area, but at a gig where people are drunk and I'm little, because I'm very outgoing, I just get picked up and like marched off, and then I can't get back to my friends, and then I'm gone, and then I'm getting shouted at because I'm partying with people that I don't know, and it's not a safe situation. But I thought, now, this was before the last fight, I just want to be with my friends, so got me hood up, I'm all hidden away like that, we're dancing to Jamie Webster, singing live, and I could just see this fella in the corner of my eye and my peripherals, and everyone kept asking for you don't know what it's like when you're in them situations, you have to oblige, course, and you're just fucked by the amount of pictures you have to do. It's like, I just only want to listen to this one song. I can see this lad coming, and as he's running, and I mean running, I was like, lad, get back, and I'm standing up like that, and my coach Ellis was standing there, Paddy Pimblett's wife Laura was standing next to me, and he's absolutely come, like he's going to take me down. And I literally, I'll show you, I literally just like hopped back and just like booted him in the chest, because I thought, I'm fighting in 2 weeks, I don't want to hurt my hand. Right. He's hit the floor, and then he's gone for Laura, and Laura's just booted him.
What's wrong with these men?
Dr. Martin's on right, and I was just laughing my head off. And then my coach Ellis was just like, because it was hilarious, but it's so weird at the same time. Do you know what I mean? And my mum was like, we're going home now.
Before we ask you our last question, you have a fight coming up that we're all very excited about. We're huge fans of yours. And by the way, having met you
Are you in the
now,
country?
We're here.
We are.
Yes, so Neve will get you some tickets to come.
We were going to ask you a question.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of your wife and her friends also, so will you invite them?
Yeah. We'll come.
I'm fans of you.
Oh, thank you.
No, but their podcast is great as well, so.
We'll invite them. Can we
walk you out?
Listen, if Dave Portnoy's walked me out before.
I love Dave
Why
Portnoy.
not?
Can we be there with you?
Dana.
Listen, we'll take this off
We've
you.
got the English Jedwards here, and they're going to walk me out.
I'm not sure about that.
Ant and Deck, maybe.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
it's just because you've both got a bit sticky up
The
here.
taller Ant and
Copied
Deck.
me again. Anyway,
I've had this haircut for about 40 years.
40 years?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
I'm not far off 40.
Yeah,
we both
You
are.
can't have had it for 40 years. You're not. Okay, anyway.
I'm had it in the
It's
womb.
looking lovely.
Regardless,
fake.
we want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
We're huge fans of you. Having met you, honestly, I find you so inspiring. You've got the most beautiful soul. It's been such a pleasure.
Thanks, mate.
I've really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us, and we can't wait to come and watch you fight. Hopefully, or if we're not there for whatever reason, we wish you all the best.
Well, you fucking will, because
We will.
I've got a very particular set of skills, and I will find you.
Yeah.
And I will headlock you there.
We're coming. We'd love to come. We'd love to walk you out. What was that? Thank you, UFC, for agreeing to allow us to do that.
the VIP
I want to be
experience.
on each shoulder. Like,
No, that's what we said. We'll carry you.
Let's just become best friends.
We said that we'll carry you out if you want,
Yeah.
so that you don't have to waste any energy.
Thank you.
Walking.
Last question.
Yes, last question. To our listeners and relatively new fan base, can you impart some incredible knowledge about how young people might achieve or tap into more of their potential?
Just have a vision and go for it. I started MMA at 24. You're never too old to be who you want to be and go down an avenue that you want to go down. Commit yourself completely to it and just make your plan. Plan your work and work your plan.
Nice.
And don't give in before the miracle's about to happen.
Thank you so much.
Lad, really? Oh,
Thank you.
Thank
namaste.
you.
Namaste.
Thank you, Spencer.
Yes.
Cheers. Love that from you. That was sick.
I knew that she'd be great. But I wasn't expecting it to be that great.
I felt like I was in my element on that because I just love
You were-
MMA and I love UFC and I
You were
love.
great.
Thank you, sir.
You were great.
But what took me back is she gets a lot of stick online.
I can't imagine why. I honestly can't imagine why.
Honestly, from meeting her, I'm like, she was so sound, very endearing.
Yeah.
I love how like she wasn't bothered about talking about anything.
A real kind of open book, but deeper than that. Really fun.
Yeah.
But also just very insightful, very deep as well. Like finds it very easy to kind of talk about quite complicated and deep, meaningful things to her, but in a really endearing, beautiful way.
And she obviously deals with, I don't know, you're probably similar to me. Humor has helped me get through like the hardest times, and I think she's just got a great sense of humor. She was taking the piss out of you quite a lot. I liked how she was talking about fighting. Stop looking at McQueen.
She called you Jedward.
She called us Jed.
I hadn't even done my hair. You couldn't ever think that I looked like Jedward. Who do you honestly think is more Jedward-ish?
But she kept saying, when you go on your little runs...
She didn't keep saying that, actually. She said it once.
I think, right, play back how many times she said that. It was about 7. Like, Jake, you know where I am because you've had a cage fight. But when you go on your little jogs, like, I was like, she's doing that on purpose, 100%.
I actually think she was... I thought she thought my running was very impressive, actually.
She reminded me of a little bit of like a great white shark. Do you know that, like, when her eyes will probably go black when she sees her prey?
Yeah.
And then she does a spinning back fist. Whoosh!
Very few fatal great white shark incidents annually. But yes, I know what you mean.
How do you know that?
There's only 6 or something.
But I was also not talking about them eating a human. I'm talking about them, like, attacking a seal.
Well, they're quite docile.
Are they?
But, you know, a strong hand out on the nose, shove the shark away. Boom. Fine.
Would you want to try that with Molly?
I don't think you wouldn't feel good about it, to be honest, if it was coming towards you.
Absolutely.
Great
not.
whites as well. They look a bit scary.
I saw a reef shark when I was on my honeymoon with Soph. So we went snorkeling and we got far out.
Snorkeling.
And we got to the edge of the reef, right? And I've seen this shark. So I've turned into Michael Phelps, right? I've turned round and I've speedboated it back. I forgot that Soph was in the water. So I'd already got back to the beach and I went, Soph, shark.
What?
And she was like shitting her pants swimming back. And I was already safe on the beach. Like my instincts just took over. I saved myself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in that instance, you only really need to outrun her.
Yeah, well, yeah. That wasn't even my
You don't need to
thought process.
outrun the shark.
But
You
I
only need
also-
to outrun your wife.
Yeah, I checked my Whoop and my heart rate was like 200. It was horrible. Anyway, back to Molly McCann.
That's so funny. Anyway, Molly McCann. Yeah.
I think I can't wait for her to fight. She seems really switched on. She's found a weight category that really suits her. She's like she said, she feels like a highly tuned athlete now. Whereas before she was fighting at a heavier weight. She even said herself, she didn't look like she felt like she didn't feel like she felt like a tuned athlete.
I think
now when you see her, she's ripped, she's ready to go. And that takes a lot of effort, man. A lot of work.
That's a really interesting point, though, because it's almost like, I don't know how you feel about weight and weight changes. We've both been very light and quite heavy for our size. Like, this is probably my walking around weight, like 80 to 82, call it that. I've been 105 and I've been 70.
Yeah.
71, 72. Do you know what I mean? So it's interesting, though, because we find it quite easy to maintain what we are, but Molly had to always cut. So Molly now is in a place where she can dial her athleticism with great routine and a diet and a training plan where you don't have that aggressive kind of weight loss or gain. I think she's awesome. I didn't want to go too far into the like, are you spiritual, are you religious thing? Because, you know, I love those kind of questions. She drew attention to the fact that we've all lost people really close to us in this room. So I felt like we almost connected at that level anyway without having to talk about it. But, you know, she was, it was a remarkable story. I think, you know, that first time she fought in Vegas on her stepfather's birthday and lost because she just wasn't in it. She just didn't want to be there, wasn't in it. And then took that loss, built on it, learnt from it. And then the following year or whenever it was, same day, fought again, same day, won, because she took the learning from the loss and built on it.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Cheeks, touch wood, you can't make it.
Touch wood. Whack. Okay. We hope you enjoyed that episode of Untapped as much as we enjoyed making it. Loved having Molly on the show.
Great.
Thought it was absolutely incredible. We are a brand new show, so please drop us 5 stars and a review. It helps other people find us. And we will catch you next week for a fresh episode of Untapped. If you would like to contact us, we would love it if you would. There are details in the show notes. There's a WhatsApp number that comes directly to us in the studio. So if anything has inspired you or you want us to talk to anyone who you find inspiring, please let us know. We love to hear from you. We'll share your stories and we'll see you next week. My entire journey on Untapped is being fueled by the world-leading supplement brand Heights. Day in, day out, through ups and downs, whether I'm at my desk with my kids, training, or in the desert. When it comes to achieving peak performance, I've learned that having great nutrition is crucial. It is After all, the foundation of everything. I have been a supplement skeptic all of my life, but when I entered the desert, I knew that I needed that little extra help to get my Guinness World Record. I chose Heights, recommended by the experts on my team, and it's supported by over 700 scientific studies. I knew I could trust them, and it worked. Made by doctors and dietitians, their magnesium is a clean and powerful supplement. It not only helps with my sleep on a nightly basis, but also with my recovery. I would highly recommend that you try them for yourselves. Taken by over 103,000 high performers, including top international sports teams, Olympians, and world record holders like myself. Why don't you give them a go? Get 20% off your first subscription at heights.com/untapped or use code UT20 at checkout.